I guess the point that I'm getting to with everything I've been saying so far is I'm kind of worried that no one really cares about their communities anymore. And so it's, you can do these cleanups in these big cities, but I don't know. How do you feel about all this moving forward? What's going to happen?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I can sleep better at night knowing that I'm doing everything in my power to use my platform to make our country a better place. And, whether or not I'm successful at getting others, I know that I did my part. So I can't judge my success based on the success of others. I feel good knowing that I'm doing what I can to make America great.
One thing you can do is when you're walking down the street, if you see a piece of trash, just pick it up.
Pick it up.
And
Yeah.
It's really fun.
In front
It's
of
awesome,
somebody.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and wave it in their face.
Oh.
No, I mean just
wait.
whatever. Just pick it up and take it. Sometimes there's not trash cans on the corners, which is a little unfortunate. That'd be cool, but I know it's a lot of upkeep for the trash people to come by and like empty all the trash cans on every city block. But pick one up, just one.
We can do what Singapore does. Yeah, just arrest people who litter. Yeah, gum is illegal over there. You chew gum. Oh, that's bad.
Really?
Yeah, there's no gum anywhere on the sidewalks because it's illegal.
Oh.
Because people just spit it and stomp it into the ground.
I think that's a good
Yeah,
solution.
if you
That sounds like a leftist dream, right?
A little
I don't know.
authoritarian
No,
there.
I don't know because it's almost like right authoritarian. Cleanliness, tradition, serve this. It's the left would just like destroy it and burn it down and then clap and cheer for it. Like, yay, we saved the city. Because that's what they're doing.
You know what's
Destroying everything.
what's funny to me is that they talk about tearing it all down and burning it down and starting from scratch, but it kind of makes me wonder then who exactly is going to do the upkeep in these cities?
Nobody.
Who is going to be making sure that everything's neat and clean and organized? You need someone who's kind of right-leaning to make sure that this happens.
Well, you could be clean and left-leaning. It's just the problem is the left we have today is making excuses for the
Full of
destruction.
nonsense. This is true.
Look, man. If you want to be far left and talk about your communist utopia, all right, man, I'll have an argument. But if you're supporting the people who are making everything worse and burning things down, I don't really think you want to make things better,
There's have you heard of flash graphene? Are you familiar with
I don't know flash graphene.
Are you familiar with graphene at all?
Like with trees?
It's made of carbon. It's pure carbon.
Okay.
And it's like a hexagonal lattice. It's a new material. You'll see a lot of it in the 21st century. It's incredible material. But you can make it in the process where they take carbon, trash, and hit it with lasers, and you can turn it into this building material. So I think if there's a purpose for the trash, it will excite people more to go out and get it, especially the government.
The problem is sorting the trash, Like we could do a lot of things with plastic. We could do a lot of things with paper. We can
Food trash,
Recycle
like
soup.
banana
peels.
peels.
Right, we can compost that. One of the big problems is that the food gets all over everything else, and then you got to clean it and separate. It's not that easy. Now I think one of the things they do is like they put all they take all the garbage, and they put it in a dump, and then they put like grass over the dump, and then it breaks down. Like the trash has to break down, and then they siphon off the methane and use it.
Oh, cool.
There's clever things we're doing to deal with trash. I mean,
There's also bacteria that eats it that they found in Japan. I think one bacteria in a trash dump underneath the pile.
Eats plastic, right?
Yeah.
Super
the future
cool.
is now, man.
Hey,
I know.
I had a question for you, Scott. When you first got inspired, so when was this?
Like September 2019.
And you were just chilling at your house or something, and then you saw what was it like the impetus?
Just watching the tweets, watching the social media, saw President Trump retweeted Kimberly Klacik, and I went, wow, oh my gosh. People don't understand. We're all living in a bubble. Unless you live in LA, unless you live in Baltimore, you don't understand what it's like to live on the streets. You don't get it. You haven't seen the tent cities. And that really opened my eyes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we live in the greatest, freest country in the world, but our people are living like this. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do something about it.
All right. Well, what do you like so much about Trump?
I like that he's keeping his promises. I like that he's the first president that I can remember in my lifetime who has an unshakable commitment to actually keeping his campaign promises. I mean, it's almost like he has a piece of paper where he has them all listed and he's just going through and striking them off. I like that. One of the criticisms the media's had is that his call for pulling our troops out of the Middle East
was his desperate attempt to maintain a campaign promise. It's
Oh, no.
Pretty sure Americans like that he's
Right.
doing that.
Oh.
I mean, I do.
Cleaning up garbage.
Gosh, President Trump, stop keeping your promise to stop endless wars. You should be voting for the Iraq war like Joe Biden did. I mean, he's the first president in something like, excuse me, you're going to have to fact check me, 40 years that hasn't gotten us into an endless war. That's something that whether you're Republican or Democrat, we should all be cheering on, that we're bringing our money home. We're bringing our soldiers home, not spending it. Why are we rebuilding Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan? Meanwhile, our people are living like this in the streets of LA and Baltimore.
What if one day you were like, I'm gonna go clean up this mess, and then as you put on your apron or whatever, we got a breaking news. The troops had been brought back, and instead of building cities in foreign countries, they actually were cleaning up the trash. And you could just sit back, crack open a beer, put on the TV, and be like, my work here is done.
I'll tell you why they're rebuilding over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, because they have an opportunity to start at the bottom. They get certain people with contracts that they want to give the money to. That Halliburton, for instance, big companies with connections with the people that are starting the wars, and so they get all the money from the rebuild. Whereas we did in Baltimore, those companies aren't in Baltimore, and we'd have a hard time getting them into Baltimore.
I do think, when they say we're spreading democracy, I think that's one way of looking at it. But I think it has a lot to do with it's like proxy war influencing. It's like gaining a strategic location so that the U.S. can go to essentially proxy war with other countries.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Syria was a proxy war with the U.S. and Russia, essentially. Hillary Clinton was totally on board with like, I don't care if we go to war with Russia. So I remember this in 2016. That was the next question I was going to ask you. Hillary Clinton was advised that a no-fly zone over Syria meant essentially World War III. Like Russia would be like, that's a war. We have a military base there in I think it's in Tartus. And she was like, so what, basically, essentially. So Donald Trump was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to try and negotiate and bring peace. Why would we want war? And so you actually had the war hawk pro-war candidate and Donald Trump, who was like, I'm not going to do that. So they accused him of working with Russia. But yeah, so that whole thing was basically this conflict with Russia. The conflict in Syria was very much the U.S. supporting those who opposed Russia and Russia supporting their ally in Assad. But anyway, I bring that up as sort of a segue. You said you worked for 2 years to defeat Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yes.
I'm
very proud of that.
I'm going to come back to the Trump question because I do want to get specifics on the promises thing, but I do want to ask, like, what didn't you like about Hillary Clinton?
Well, for me, I have to make it clear, and I mean this with all due respect to our president, but 2016 was never about electing Donald Trump. For me, it was always about defeating Hillary Clinton. Now it's changed going into 2020, and we'll come back. But now for me, it's about electing Donald Trump, not defeating Joe Biden. I just thought she was the most untrustworthy candidate, and I never wanted her to have power back in the White House. I didn't want her to replace the late Antonin Scalia. I didn't want her to have power over all of those judges. And I'm so glad I helped defeat her.
Yeah, that sounds like regular old politics, I suppose.
Yeah.
And now we're in this era where it's not regular old politics at all. The weirdest thing to me is the support for Joe Biden, because I mean, it's the lies, man. I saw a friend of mine posted that they were like, Donald Trump will increase our military presence overseas and Joe Biden will end it. Yeah, I know. What? And I was like, how dare you?
Were you around from 2008 to 2016?
Did you live from 2008 to 2016? Were you alive? Because I mean, you could watch the news and see the news reports of what the Biden administration was doing. But these are the things that they're putting out. And Hillary Clinton was Obama administration. Joe Biden's the same thing. I think what they're going for is they want the same power structure, and they're like, what's the last thing we have? This Biden guy. It's the best.
It's the status quo. Absolutely. But I really want to point something out for our mathematicians out there. Joe Biden has been a career politician for 47 years, which is 19% of our country's history.
Whoa.
1/5 of our country's history that the United States first gave its Declaration of Independence. Joe Biden has been around for 47 years as a career politician. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
I mean, it'd be almost impressive if he did good things,
I know.
Like, wow. I mean, there was a while where I was actually excited for Bernie, but then Bernie sold out. That's
Twice.
his thing. Yeah, definitely.
Twice.
Were you on board for Bernie in 2016 rather?
No.
What was your feelings about just the voting and the political landscape going into 2016?
In 2016? Oh gosh. I mean, you know, I was hoping that we had the wave on our side, but I mean, it was going to be close. I knew it. I didn't even think that we were necessarily going to win. I just never stopped, and I hustled and I grinded every single day, and I never stopped working. So I think I kind of deluded myself into thinking that we were going to win. But I mean, the thing that scared me is just the amount of young people that were coming over to the leftist ideology. And I think that's shifted. In 4 years, I've never seen so many young people actually coming over to the conservative ideology. And I follow my followers pretty closely. You know, I try to look at who's following me, and I'm seeing more and more college students, especially on Twitter and on my Instagrams. People slide in my DMs all the time, and they just say, Scott, you know, I can't be outspoken like you are, which is a travesty that we have to say that in today's society, that people have to self-censor themselves. But all these young people are coming over, and you know what I think they're attracted to? They're not necessarily attracted to the politics. I bring them in through the positivity and through passion. The young kids are attracted to passion, and that leads me to believe that it's who gets there first. Is it a socialist that attracts the young kids, or is it a capitalist that attracts the young kids? Who gets there first? Who plants the seed first? And that's going to affect the direction of our country. So that behooves us to get there first.
You know, I was kind of thinking about that. And I feel like this idea that young people are socialists is, well, I think it's an illusion. And you know what the best example, in my opinion, is? TikTok. Like, you got these young kids who are like flashing money, not necessarily TikTok, but like it's a thing. These vloggers are like all rich, and they're buying mansions, and they're doing these dances where it's like, we are super rich and we own a mansion now. Like, I don't think these people are Bernie Sanders supporters. You know what I mean? They're like making videos where they're making it rain on each other and stuff. Pretty sure
Jack Murphy made an amazing observation that in his family he's a communist. In his locality,
he was quoting somebody.
Yeah. Was he?
Yeah.
In his like neighborhood, in his city, he's a socialist, and then in his grand country, he's a capitalist. I thought, well,
okay.
So like when you're at home, you work, and then you buy food, and then you just give the food to your family, like, you know, to each according to their need.
Right.
And so that's the general idea. That actually makes a whole lot of sense, because communism works really, really, really well with a very, very small group of people, beyond like 5 to 10 people.
A small group of hardworking people.
And so kids probably see that growing up with their family and think communism is great. Like, that's just why kids tend towards what you're saying, socialism, but not really.
But it's more than that. You take a kid who always is being given what they need from their parent. Then they go to school where they're always being told what to do and given what they need by the authority. Then they go to college. Now they're 24 when they are 22 to 24 when they get out, depending on which degree they're going for. Their entire lives, there was the giant head in the sky being like, I bestow upon you food for your labors. Thank you, giant head. Tell me what to do next. So what happens when these people actually go work? I've experienced this, where I've had employees, I've hired people when I was working at Fusion, and they'd be like, what should I do? And I'm like, I need you to book travel. How do I do it? I don't know. That's why I hired you.
Oh, gosh.
They're like, well, I don't know how to do it either. And I'm like, okay, well, figure it out. But you have to tell me how to. No, I can't tell you because I don't know. I'm going to go make a documentary. You figure out the travel stuff. Let me know when you're done. And they'd freak out. I can't do this. You got to give me instructions. Nah, welcome to the real world. Not happening. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.